February 2024. I'm Councillor Anthony John Richards and I will be chairing today's meeting. And just to make you aware, today's meeting will be recorded. So can you please ensure that your phones are switched to silent for the duration of the meeting? And would members, officers and attendees who are present in the chamber today please use their microphones when speaking, and when not speaking, can I ask that you ensure your microphone is switched to mute. If you have any questions, please raise your hand or your electronic hand if attending virtually. Agenda item 2 are declarations of interest. Now, regarding agenda items 7 and 8, the reports we have in front of us today are in private. So therefore, I suggest we take any declarations for these once the recording has stopped and following Mr. Chappell's introduction to the reports. Are there any declarations, prior to this point?
I don't see any, Chair.
Great, diolch yn fawr, thank you. Agenda item 3 is minutes of the previous meeting. So minutes of the previous meeting held on the 27th of November 2023 are on pages 3 to 10 of the circulated agenda pack. Can I have a proposer and a seconder to approve the minutes for accuracy, please?
Happy to propose, Chair.
And a seconder?
Happy to second, Chair.
Thank you very much.
I can confirm the minutes are now approved, Chair.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Agenda item 4 is the revised taxi policy. Now, the report can be found on pages 11 to 208 and is here for decision. So, Mr. Chappell, would you please introduce the report?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, members. Agenda item 4 is a report seeking to make some amendments to the existing taxi licensing policy. Members will note that the amendments being sought are either minor to reflect updated administrative processes. A list of proposed amendments is outlined in the report of paragraphs 11 to 20 on page 12 and 13 of the report. The changes are marked bold and underlined, and the full policy is attached at Appendix 1. As the changes to the tax licensing policy are considered minor or administrative, the consultation with the trade is considered unnecessary in these circumstances. The recommendation today, Chair, is that members approve the amendments as outlined in the report. Thank you, Chair.
Great, diolch yn fawr. Thank you very much, Mr. Chappell. Do members have any questions to Mr. Chappell on the report?
We have a question from Councillor Rob Jones in the chamber, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Rob Jones.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Mr. Chappell, I got one question. It's not actually within the contained amendments, but it's something that I picked up on page 20, paragraph 2.2 of the policy. And I was wondering, and perhaps the legal officer may clarify here, it talks about the age of 21, that you can't hold a licence prior to the age of 21. And I was wondering either, is that set in legislation? Because I'm worried that we may be breaking equalities here because someone can pass their test at 17. The policy clearly states you have to be driving for over a year in relation to having passed your test. Therefore, I would assume that is to get some experience of driving. But is that tantamount to ageism in relation to it, or is it specifically said? Because I've never seen the legislation worded that way. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good question, actually, Councillor. It's not in the legislation, and we're currently working with Welsh Government on a harmonisation document for the whole of Wales. The proposals going forward is that that will be removed from the policy. The 21, it's been in our policy for quite some time, and it's there. Initially, it was there because if you're a driver, you need to meet the DVLA Group 2 medical standards. And our understanding is that if you meet the Group 2 medical standards for HGV and PSV driving licenses, then you need to attain the age of 21 before you can do so. So we replicated that effectively in our policy. Looking at, I've been working with Welsh Government on this, as I said, and I think there's a split in Wales at the moment between those that allow individuals under 21 to have a licence and those that are restricted to 21. That being said, we have had drivers previously come to us who are under the age of 21, and they have been approved, but they had to go through this committee to get that authorisation. So it is something that needs to be reviewed, but we need to take that direction to see exactly which way Welsh Government are going to go with the new legislation that's coming out before we were changing it. So there's a number of changes that are going to come in our policy in due course. That's potentially one of the ones that we'll need to review as well.
Yeah, if I can come back, Chair.
Yeah, of course.
So thank you for the answer, and it does clarify it. But then how, under that policy, if it's not legislation, would we be impacted? Should we be challenged? And again, having read the policy, it does say under circumstances we can grant licenses. But perhaps turning then for legal advice, how would we stand if we were challenged under Equalities Act on that principle if we chose not to accede to a request for a license holder under the age of 21?
Thank you for the question, Councillor. If we were challenged, obviously any application first would have to come before committee. If the committee's reasons for that individual not being accepted was because they were under 21, of course, if they wanted to, then they could make an application if they wanted either to the Magistrates Court, or they could judicially review the decision on the basis that it's unlawful or something like that. And then, of course, then you've got the Equality Act principles which would fall into it. But ultimately, it would be for members to determine in the first instance anyway.
So I just want to be clear as far as going forward into the committee is concerned. It wouldn't be a case that we could refuse an application based solely on the fact that a person is under the age of 21. There would have to be other circumstances where we would look to refuse that application.
Each application would obviously have to be decided on its own merits. And as Mr. Chappell said earlier on regarding various things about the medical issues, but ultimately I think our policy at the moment only says 21, doesn't it? So effectively, councillors could say that they could turn an individual down or an applicant down purely on the fact that it just didn't meet our policy. But of course, as the councillor is aware, it's policy is guidelines, not tramlines.
Thank you, Chair.
Great, diolch yn fawr, thank you very much. Any further questions from any members?
No, I don't see any in the chamber, Chair.
No, okay. So thank you. I now refer members to the recommendations which can be found on page 14. I'm happy to propose. Could I have a seconder, please?
Happy to second, Chair.
Great, diolch yn fawr. Agenda item 5 is urgent items, and I have none. And agenda item 6 is access to meetings. So we're now going into the private items. So pursuant to section 100BA 2 and 7 of the Local Government Act 1972, it is proposed that the public be excluded for the following items of business which involve the disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraph 12 of Part 4 of Schedule 12A of the above Act. Could I please have a proposer and a seconder to move this item?
Happy to propose, Chair.
Happy to second, Chair.
Great, diolch yn fawr, thank you.
Can I call a point of order?
Yep.
Reference the policy. It's for decision. And I don't think the decision was actually voted on. And we need to vote on that decision.
Sarah, can I bring you in on this point?
Yeah, we'll go back to the agenda item if that's okay, Chair, and I'll take a vote then, and I'll see if there's any abstentions at the same time.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Councillor Jones. So back to that. So I proposed and Councillor Henton seconded. So could you go through all the members and let us know how they wish to vote, please.
Yes, Chair, I'll just go through the membership now. Councillor Anard Horbury, have you been present for the whole item and how do you wish to vote? There.
I think we've lost Sarah.
Yeah, I think I'll move on then, Chair. Councillor Wayne Carpenter, have you been present for the whole item and how do you wish to vote?
Thank you, Sarah. I've been present for the whole meeting. I vote for the amendment.
Thank you. Councillor Andrew Dacey, have you been present for the whole meeting and how do you wish to vote?
I have been present for the whole meeting and I vote to the amendment.
Thank you. Vice Chair, over to you. Councillor James Henton, how do you wish to vote?
I've been here for the whole meeting and I vote for.
Thank you. Councillor Rob Jones, how do you wish to vote?
Yes, present and agree.
Thank you. Councillor Andy Lodwick, have you been present for the whole meeting? How do you wish to vote?
Yes, I have, and I vote for.
Thank you. Councillor Suzanne Patterson, have you been present for the whole meeting? How do you wish to vote?
Yes, I have been present and I vote for the amendment.
Thank you. Councillor Martin Peters, have you been present for the whole meeting? How do you wish to vote?
Yes, I've been present for the whole meeting, and I'm for.
Thank you. Chair, over to you next. How do you wish to vote?
Yeah, I've been present for the whole meeting and yeah, I'm for.
Councillor David Whitelock, have you been present for the whole meeting? How do you wish to vote?
Yes, I've been present for the whole meeting and I vote for the amendment.
Thank you. Councillor Laura Williams, have you been present for the whole meeting and how do you wish to vote?
I have been present for the whole meeting and I vote for.
And Councillor Robert Wood, have you been present for the whole meeting and how do you wish to vote?
Present and for.
Thank you. I can confirm that's unanimous for the recommendation then, Chair.
Great, thank you very much.
She's left the meeting.
Fab, thank you very much. Your microphone is still on, Sarah, just to double check. Okay, so we're now then going, so thank you members, we're now going into the private items. So I've read all the information with regards to the private items. Could I have a proposer and a seconder going into the private item, please?
Happy to propose, Chair.
Happy to second, Chair.
Fab, thank you very much. So Sarah, can you please confirm the recording has stopped?